Morning, guys. I'd just like to talk about a diet. I've put a load of cooking stuff up, and mainly what I do in the winter and the spring, which is stews and like slightly heavier stuff than the summer, where I eat a lot lighter, like more coleslaws and omelette and just a lighter food when it's really hot. And I'm sure most people do that. You don't want a big heavy stew or a curry, although curry's okay in the hot weather as well. A lot of hot countries eat curry. Um, yeah, so I try to just base my diet around food that isn't too messed about with, and I don't have stuff like margarine and seed oils and stuff like that. I do everything in olive oil or boiled, um, and I also avoid certain vegetables which I find to be poisonous, like spinach and stuff like that. And it's if you do some research on the internet, it's easy to do, and then make up your own mind. And I've made up my mind because I was getting a lot of pain in my hands and wrists, and you know, um, and one day I made this huge. I got a full packet, these great big, like a pillowcase with spinach, and like I made a great big spinach omelette, and I had all of it in the space of a day and a half, and like after that, I could hardly move my left hand, and it was so painful, and the joints were all seized up. And I thought, like, and it sort of remembered saying something about spinach. So I thought, like, well, it's got to be something with the spinach or something that I had. And it was excruciating for about 4 days. I couldn't move my fingers or my wrist. They're all swelled up. And I thought that's a reaction to something. And lo and behold, I found a couple of sources on YouTube. People may rubbish them. People say they're talking nonsense, but I don't think they are. And it all makes sense when you look at plants, and a lot of plants are poisonous until the fruit is ripe, or they're just poisonous, full stop, throughout, and they never really are edible at all. And some of them are dangerous. Some of them, they can actually kill you. So it just makes sense. The plants are not like, they're not just all edible. I mean, and different animals, different species are designed. I wouldn't say designed. I mean, that's how they are. Um, to eat different things. I mean, cows can eat grass. We can't, especially in the quantities they do, because they've got different stomachs. So you're converting grass to like prime beef, which is amazing. Don't know why anyone would want to stop that. And you've got all the dairy products and yogurt and cheese, all from grass. And all you'd have to do is put the cow in the field, and like it does the rest. And anyway, that's another subject for another day. Yeah, so the two sources are Sally K. Norton, and EO Nutrition. That's EO Nutrition. He's an English guy, and they're both way into the oxalates. And I've avoided the foods what they've said, especially the high stuff like we don't get much rhubarb here anyway, but rhubarb's super high. and stuff like spinach, super high. Some of the nuts, almonds, and almond products, which you don't eat anymore. There's other nuts you can eat, and there's lists of, and she's got a book. Uh, she's called Deadly Superfoods or something like that. Anyway, so that's that. And the other thing is lectins, which is another guy. It seems to be a little bit ambiguous sometimes as to what and how you can get rid of them, and etc. etc. And I find one of his tips is doing stuff in the pressure cooker, which will get rid of these lectins or most of them. And I've stuck to that, and especially for the high oxalate and low oxalate and that the high lectin stuff, which like beans, pretty high in lectins. And there's pointers to this as well, like if you watch what animals will eat in the garden and stuff, that there's certain insects will eat certain things, and there's certain animals, and dogs and cats, they won't touch some of this stuff. They won't go near it. They'll starve to death rather before they'll eat it. And you got to look at that and think there's something in that. And and we're eating all these grains and everything. Mice and rats, they do okay on grains and stuff, because they originate like from the wheat fields, and they're eating the grains like the field mice. That's what they live on. And so different animals eat different stuff, and I find grains as well to be, cereals and highly processed cereal. Never touch anything in boxes like that, and I haven't touched that for years. I love the loose oats now and again, but even that, I don't eat that much of them anymore. Um, and a lot of the stuff I do quite well on potatoes, actually, if they're done in the pressure cooker, and even chips. I never feel bad after them or get any pain or anything like that. And white rice as opposed to brown rice, and that's explained as well, because the oxalates are in the shells of a lot of these things, and the skins of like potatoes and that. Um, so that's just a little bit of background. So after that, I'm looking at kind of animals which aren't going to be too messed about with. All animals probably are messed around with and fed the wrong stuff, unless you know where they're from. I mean, I know where my chickens and eggs are from, and the dairy around here. We've got some great dairy farms, and they're all the cows are all in the fields, and then you see them in the winter when they're inside. They're eating hay. They're not eating dead chickens or like anything like that. which which that's what they feed them on in other places, and all it's other garbage. What they find. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to fathom why they would feed a cow who's a grass eater on like dead chickens and stuff like that. So the least messed about with food that I can see is like rabbit, which I've just done a rabbit stew. The trout is probably, they're all farmed, these trouts. But like in Bulgaria, I've been to a lot of the farms, and they all have like restaurants there. Fantastic. And you're right up in the mountains, and all the water's river water, clear river water, and they sluice it off, and it runs through like a river. And that you can see the fish, they're very healthy looking fish, and they're not going to feed them on a lot of um, a lot of garbage because they can't afford, like, to get the chemicals and all that up to these fish, and they don't need to really. So anyway, that's that. And trout, and that's pretty good. The chickens, they're local from the rotisserie chickens, probably messed about with, but like what isn't, even if you don't eat animals or food, the vegetables, a lot of that sprayed, incessantly sprayed, and like especially grains and stuff like that. And it's very, grains are unnaturally produced anyway because it's like monocrops, and they kill all the insects and all the soil and everything, and just feed them on nitrogen and whatever. So that kind of stuff. I've mentioned seed oils. I never use them because of various reports about, and we're not designed to eat that either. Um, and then I get the steak, which I know is grass fed, and I know where it's from, and where they bring these things up like kings, you know what I mean, and so that's that. And the other thing I eat mainly in the summer, and that is like eggs, and I like sardines as well, and I know how they're produced, and you can see the whole fish in the tin, and they actually cook them in the if you get them in tomato sauce, they're cooked in the tin in these Portuguese sardine processing places, and it's all a pretty healthy process, So just try and keep away from highly processed foods. And I'm not like a health freak or anything like that, but it's just like, just makes sense to eat stuff, and it's nice food. It's nicer food than the garbage what you get. Um, like some of the meat stuff, is it even meat anymore? You just don't know, and like and you look at the ingredients on anything, and anything that's like in a box mainly. Canned goods don't seem to be that highly processed. I get jars of peas and stuff like that, and you can see them in the jars, and like they haven't been messed about with that much. Probably they have in the growing process and that, but like you've got to eat something. We've got to eat something. So you just eat the best that you can, and the best that you can afford, and try and keep it like as natural as possible. Like I grow stuff here now in the back. There's no sprays here. Our area isn't sprayed. A good barometer of that is the insect life and the bees. And we've got all types of bees, and we've got all types of pollinators and little hoverflies, and all sorts of stuff here. In the garden, it's crawling with stuff. And I find it, when you get like aphids, people jump in and start like trying to spray them with stuff and this, that, the other. And I just look at the aphids on the. They sometimes come out on the sunflowers, which I only grow for the pollinators and that, and because I like them. That's one of the ornamental things I grow. It's sunflowers, and I can't believe how big they grow from one little seed. It just amazes me. So I do them, and they feed so many insects and that. And these aphids come, and you just don't do anything. In a couple of days or weeks, they'll be gone because the aphid eaters will come and get them, which are ladybirds, and then we get the ladybirds and various other things, and the ants. The ants, the ants farm them. The aphids, don't they? But like then the aphid eaters come, And I think the hornets and that eat the aphids as well. There's various things. Anyway, it's just an ecosystem, and like if anything starts eating anything, just I just let it go, And I grow potatoes. I've got kale. I'm trying to grow stuff now which is perennial, so I don't have to bother with it. Like all the herbs are fantastic. I think this is year 3 for some of them, year 2 for others, and they're fantastic. They come back stronger. You want to see the chives? I'll do some more info on the garden when it gets really going. And then I grow green beans, which they just keep producing. I had 3 or 4 crops off some of the bushes last year. Tomatoes, just let them go, and I don't control much. And then I had a load of what they call volunteer pumpkins and squashes, because I just put the seeds out, and I've actually gorilla planted them all over all down the side of the road, over the road, and I've spread the seeds everywhere, and all up my fence line and at the back, and they just grow. They just come out, and then boom, that's it. And you get these. I like the butternut squashes, and I got some massive ones, and I didn't even plant them. I just put them in the compost, and I've been planting them since then. But they just came out of nowhere. Fantastic, and they're one thing that will grow in fresh manure. Fresh manure's a bit heavy for some plants. They don't like it, but like they grow in the fresh manure, and you see them all down the valley, because like the cow farmers, when they have the cows in the barns, they'll go and they tip the manure where people ask them to tip it on the land, and they tip it on the side of the road, all throughout the winter and spring. And they got big piles of manure everywhere. And I don't know if people plant the seeds in them, or they just in the manure, or in the feed, or whatever. But you see pumpkins growing out of them every year, this manure. And then people are just picking up pumpkins everywhere. And the side of the road here in the valleys, you could eat off it. Every tree's a fruit tree, an apple tree, or a pear tree. And it's just like windfall, and people just pick it all up. I go and pick it all up, and because I used to have a load of apple trees, and I don't now in this new house. So I just go. I know where some trees are, and I'll just go and pick them all up, and I make a ginger bug, which I'll also do a video on when I make one when it gets warmer, with ginger, and I just ferment the ginger, and then I add it to apple juice. I boil any fruit. I mix it all up, pears and apples and elderberries later on, and I just make these fermented drinks, and they're fantastic. And you've got to watch them, because they're like bombs. They blow up if you don't get the gas out of them. Anyway, that's another aside. So there's a little bit of philosophy on the diet. I mean, I tried a no carb diet once, the Atkins, and I lost a lot of weight, like a skeleton. Well, a skeleton for my size, anyway. But I lost a lot of weight, but it didn't feel natural, and my kidneys were aching a little bit for months actually. And then so all I do now is just limit the carbs, and I don't go on any extreme no carb or anything like that. And the vegetarian diets, I can't see how. I think people struggle after a while on the vegan. They do well for a bit, and it's mainly because of what you're not eating. I think most diets, like the even the carnivore diet, it's what you're not eating. Um, that like is good for you the first few weeks. You're kind of cleansing and detoxing and that. Anyway, so there's a few thoughts on diet and there's lots and lots of resources on the YouTube and that. And like you've got to watch the pluses and minuses of everything. You don't just get hooked on one thing. Just watch everything and then just make your own mind up and see what's best for you. But I'm not none by no means health freak or a guru or anything like that. And probably drink too much wine, but like I, I don't drink the hard stuff. Like a lot of people in Bulgaria drink the rakia, and it's like heavy duty. It's 70% proof. It's like jet fuel, But like, and I can't even drink it. But so yeah. So I hope you enjoyed that. Cheers.